The film begins with a quiet scene by a beautiful river, where a father and his son are fishing peacefully. At the same time, a girl on the riverbank is watching them from a distance, her face showing curiosity. Slowly, she starts moving closer to them. At that moment, the scene cuts to a flashback, showing a protest where people are demanding the expulsion of mind readers from the city. They fear their thoughts will be stolen without permission, raising slogans against idea theft. The police are also present, expecting the protest could turn into a riot. Amid all this, there's a girl named Owner, who has telepathic abilities. She can read minds. She leads the group of mind readers and has a strange mark on her eye. She begins examining the protesters' thoughts, and is able to identify individuals in the crowd. She clarifies the innocence of an old man, saying he is peaceful and doesn't understand what he's doing. She also mentions a young boy who is there because someone told him to be, without any real purpose. She notices a heavy-set man who seems angry but doesn't really understand why he feels the need to act that way. Owner also warns about a woman standing behind him and another man in green who is aware of her telepathic abilities. Detective Ross arrives and assigns Owner the task of identifying the instigators among the protesters, suspecting that some people intend to provoke violence. As the news spreads, tensions rise, leading to a confrontation between the protesters and the police, who are also using mind readers, a practice that's illegal. Owner examines the crowd carefully. Amid the chaos, a man wearing a strange mask appears and surprises Owner. She tries to read his mind but fails. He throws a Molotov cocktail, turning the protest into an extremely violent riot. Detective Ross acts quickly and pursues the attacker. During the fight, Ross manages to remove the mask and capture him. Owner returns Ross's cap, which had fallen in the commotion, showing that she values it slightly. Later, Ross goes to his superior to discuss the need to calm the unrest. He acknowledges the difficulty of the situation, pointing out mistakes on both sides. Mind readers violate privacy when they probe people's thoughts, provoking them, while police resorting to violence is also wrong. The investigation uncovers a dangerous criminal group inciting chaos. Ross manages to capture one of its members, the one with the strange mask, and learns of his connection to the organization. When Owner arrives, the police are hesitant to let her in, but after Ross intervenes, they allow her inside. She tries her best not to read anyone's mind, especially the police, but she is met with suspicion. If the police see mind readers as enemies, one can only imagine how ordinary people perceive them. Owner feels frustrated by all this. Later, one of the detectives goes to get water. Owner looks at him normally, but he responds nervously, afraid she might read his thoughts. She reassures him that she isn't interested in anyone's mind, especially the police, but nobody believes her. Everyone fears she could uncover their deepest secrets just by looking at them. Owner watches Ross as he talks to his superior and uses her powers to eavesdrop. When Ross comes over and suggests they work together, she feels happy and grateful that he understands her abilities in front of others. Together, they interrogate the criminal Ross captured, asking him to explain the group's motives in inciting chaos against mind readers and to reveal who leads them. The criminal refuses to cooperate, preferring that Ross discover the truth himself. Ross asks about the significance of the mask the criminal wears. The criminal responds vaguely and speaks cryptically, refusing to disclose any information. Ross brings Owner into the room. The man is fearful that she might read his mind, but she calmly accesses the electrical signals in his brain, uncovering details about him, his name, his parents' names, even childhood events. She also learns the names of his group members and their hideouts. Ross feels uneasy watching Owner work, sensing she is torturing him mentally, but in the end, he obtains all the information he needs. The other officers watch Ross and Owner with suspicion, perhaps doubting her abilities. Owner worries that Ross might face trouble at work because of her, but he reassures her to focus on their mission. With the police force behind them, Ross and Owner reach the criminal gang's headquarters, a massive building. Thanks to Owner's unique powers, she detects the criminals' mental signals and directs the police to their exact location for a swift capture. During the operation, Owner delves into the minds of the captured criminals, uncovering all their hidden secrets, including a note from someone called the Mask Maker, revealing secret plans. Suddenly, a sound from below catches their attention. Ross and Owner investigate and encounter a man wearing a mask. Ross orders Owner to quickly scan his mind to determine if he poses a threat. She tries but cannot read him, which puzzles her. Before he attacks, Ross intervenes and shoots him. When Ross asks about the difficulty of the situation, she explains that she tried but failed, and she feels pain that the mask may have disrupted her abilities. Owner then returns to her residence, which resembles government buildings rather than a normal home. Unlike ordinary mind readers like her, who do not live in regular houses, they stay in special facilities similar to prisons, without phones. They use their telepathic abilities to communicate with each other. Telepaths can communicate with anyone through their unique mind-reading powers. Later, a government official named Franklin and a university called Mary, capable of reading minds, requests that she connect his thoughts to another person. This causes Mary to feel the emotions of the person she connects with, resulting in pain. Despite her discomfort, influential figures like Franklin pressure her to complete the task. Mary's mind becomes overwhelmed, and she cannot hold back her tears. Additionally, the government pressures mind readers to spy on ordinary people's thoughts to catch criminals or control populations, but ordinary people are unaware this is happening. They should not resent the mind readers but the government, which forces them to act this way. When Franklin left, he found a box in his car containing a special mask that prevents anyone from reading his thoughts. After Mary read Franklin's mind, she became extremely distressed and restless even in her sleep. Due to the mental connections among telepaths, the same signs of stress and anxiety began to appear in her. Owner quickly went to reassure Mary, but Mary accused her of betrayal, believing that Owner was working with the government. The scene then shifts to the morning. Ross arrived at Owner's place. She asked him why he had come, and he told her there was nothing to worry about, urging her to focus on their work together, and even offered her breakfast. However, Owner discovered a malfunction in his car, which indicated hostility from some telepaths toward government officials. This hostility was fueled by the government's constant pressure and control over telepaths, forcing them to do things they refused to do. Ross admitted that they were justified in feeling frustrated. During a briefing, he explained to the team about the mask, saying it was made from special wax fibers that block brain signals, making the wearer unreadable. He stressed the importance of identifying who makes the masks, since their distribution could undermine police efforts. When one officer suggested they might need a month to trace the source, Ross paused and considered his duties as an officer. Owner then suggested that she could locate the mask maker in just one day if given permission. Ross, aware of Owner's abilities, agreed. In just 5 minutes, Owner scanned several people's minds and sent the results to Ross. She discovered that the wax fibers used in the mask were not commercially available but used in specific factories, particularly those producing high-quality clothing or bookbinding. Since the city had no bookbinding factories, the focus shifted to clothing factories. With 8 factories in the area, Ross said they needed to search each one to identify the mask maker. The officers were impressed by Owner's mind-reading skills, and Ross praised her quick response, comparing it to the month it would have taken the regular police team. The team, fully determined, prepared to raid the clothing factories to find the mask maker. Despite continuing their search, Ross and Owner initially found nothing after checking all the factories. Ross asked Owner about the thoughts coming from others and whether they distracted her. She confirmed that constant mental chatter could be mentally exhausting and even drive a telepath to madness. Still, she reassured him that she felt calm and at peace with him around, away from the noise of other people's thoughts. Ross was surprised by Owner's comment and began reflecting on the bond that had formed between them. Before he could dwell on it further, Owner suddenly screamed for help. Franklin, the government official, was attempting to torture Mary, causing her intense pain. Because of the mental link among telepaths, Owner felt Mary's pain as if it were her own. Ross rushed to save Mary and found Franklin wearing the mask, threatening her with a gun. He challenged Mary to read his thoughts and threatened to shoot her if she failed. Ross intervened, ordering Franklin to drop the gun and warning him of the consequences of using the mask, which disrupts the work of mind readers. Franklin promised to reveal his actions to everyone, leaving Mary and the weapon behind. Ross then approached Franklin and questioned his strange behavior despite his high-ranking government position. Franklin warned Ross about the danger posed by mind readers, suggesting that they could exploit their abilities to access classified information, which could compromise national security. He also noted that Ross's relationship with Owner, who can read minds, could put him at risk. At the same time, Owner wore Franklin's mask and felt normal, as her powers were temporarily blocked. Later, Ross and Owner listened to old police recordings and documented unethical experiments conducted by Dr. Keeter using wax fibers. Dr. Keeter subjected mind readers, including children, to extremely painful tests using the masks. Owner witnessed the cruelty of these experiments and felt deep sorrow. At the same time, Franklin went to Mary and asked her to forgive him for what he had done. However, Mary used her power against him, causing him intense mental pain. The other telepaths joined her, overwhelming Franklin's mind, and although he was still alive, his mental state became like that of a small child. Ross noticed this and grew suspicious of Mary. He encouraged Owner to use her mental connection with Mary to locate her. Owner contacted Mary telepathically and confirmed that Mary had indeed tortured Franklin as a form of revenge for the persecution the telepaths were experiencing. Mary saw this as only the beginning of resistance against those who were oppressing them. Despite this revelation, Owner lied to Ross, telling him she didn't know how to reach Mary or where she was. Ross, however, realized she was lying and warned her about the escalating conflict between the telepaths and the police. He urged her to stay home for her own safety. But Owner insisted she was homeless and had nowhere to stay. Ross, moved by her words, brought her to his house so she could feel safe. While looking out the window, Ross confirmed that the unrest he had wanted to prevent had already begun. With the rising tension between ordinary people and telepaths, Owner felt deep sadness, wondering why people didn't see that telepaths are human too, what their crime was in being different, and why society wanted to destroy them. Owner discovered a photo of Ross fishing with his father as a child and remarked on his happiness in the picture. Ross recalled those moments, saying he had truly been happy, and that his father was alive. They fished every day, and his father had an open, relaxed mindset, even in the presence of telepaths. Ross felt safe and calm with his father beside him. Owner told Ross that she felt safe and happy when she was with him, reflecting the growing bond between them. That night, while Ross slept, Owner couldn't resist the urge to read his thoughts, even though she knew it was wrong. She did so out of curiosity, wanting to understand him better. When she saw him thinking about his father, she experienced the same memories. Yet when Ross began murmuring in his sleep, Owner stopped reading his thoughts and instead started examining files in the room. Suddenly, Ross woke up and grabbed Owner. She pretended she was searching for a new job, knowing he had fallen for a telepath, and that he might lose his job otherwise. Ross laughed and agreed she should find a good position. Owner then revealed to Ross that she had chosen their new home, on the riverbank where he used to fish with his father. This lightened the mood, and she mentioned discovering a closed factory in the files they had searched, suspecting it might be where the mask maker worked. Ross was impressed by her investigative skills and said she should be part of the police force. He began preparing to investigate the factory. Owner wanted to go with him, but Ross, concerned for her safety due to the growing hostility toward telepaths, advised her to stay home. Still, Owner ignored his warning and followed him secretly. Meanwhile, Mary communicated with Owner telepathically, warning her not to trust any government officials and emphasizing the need to eliminate the mask maker to protect telepaths. Ross entered the factory and confronted Dr. Keeter, who was busy producing the masks. Ross asked him about his motivations and why he was making the masks. Dr. Keeter explained that he was driven by a desire to protect people's privacy, believing that telepaths violated it by reading minds without consent. He saw his masks as a solution, allowing people to regain their privacy. Although Ross sympathized with Dr. Keeter, he explained the consequences of his actions. Without Ross noticing, Owner arrived at the factory and overheard the conversation. Dr. Keeter told Ross that he possessed a powerful weapon against telepaths, ensuring his safety, though he worried for others who needed masks for protection. Owner entered the room and asked Ross about the weapon. Dr. Keeter quickly put on a mask and challenged Owner to read Ross's thoughts directly to discover the truth. However, when she tried, she could only see the phishing memory they had shared earlier and couldn't access any other thoughts. This puzzled her and shocked her deeply. Dr. Keeter explained that this was Ross's unique ability. He could block the electrical signals in his brain from being read by telepaths like Owner. She finally understood how Ross could maintain his privacy even with telepaths around. Owner was stunned and confused by this revelation, and her shock increased when Mary and the rest of the telepaths arrived, all connected to Owner's mind. Ross warned Dr. Keeter about the danger if the telepaths found him and encouraged him to escape through the back door. However, Dr. Keeter insisted that Ross stay to confront the telepaths. As Ross prepared to leave, Owner locked the door, preventing him from leaving. Mary and the other telepaths discovered that the factory was the source of the masks, and Dr. Keeter was responsible. Using their combined power, they controlled his mind, which ultimately caused his death. In a desperate attempt to destroy evidence, they set the factory on fire. As the flames spread rapidly, Ross found himself trapped. Owner begged to open the door but insisted on reading his thoughts first to make sure he wasn't deceiving her. After some contemplation, Ross allowed her to read his mind. She saw his remorse and, entering his memories, was transported back to the first scene when she met him with his police chief. At first, Owner hesitated to read Ross's thoughts, but now, with permission, she uncovered the hidden truths behind his interactions with his chief. She was devastated when she realized the truth about Ross and his chief's plan. All the behaviors that seemed real, including the love they shared, had been part of a deception to control telepaths. Ross had used Owner to access the minds of other telepaths and manipulate them. Owner was shocked by this betrayal and broke down in tears, feeling destroyed after learning the truth. Ross, feeling the depth of her pain, insisted that his feelings for her now were genuine. She pleaded with him to prove it and to open the door. Owner couldn't decide whether to open it, while outside there were fights, riots, and even bomb explosions. Her choice regarding Ross remained unresolved, leaving the film's ending open. The audience never knows if she forgave Ross and saved him by opening the door. What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.